What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is the Green Arrow. Want to go over a few developments that just took place with Nikola. As we know, this is the week leading up to the vote proxy that we're going to have for the shareholder meeting. And that's on the last day to vote is August 1st. The shareholder meeting is August 2nd. So it's probably going to be no secret that we're going to see a lot come out from Nikola this week, really foot stomping and trying to get that vote out. One, I like when I see Nikola getting the vote out. Some people think it's desperate, but you can't deny that Nikola and their executives are just doing all they can. They really don't care to save face at this point. I mean, we've had Mark Russell get out there about 2 or 3 times. We even had Steve Gursky get on the line, although, mind you, it was very scripted, but he still got out there as a chairman. Very reputable, Steve Gursky, and he got out there and advocated for the vote. So they're doing all they can. You can't say that they're just sitting on their thumbs, because they're not. They're being aggressive, they're getting out there, they're working hard, and frankly, to be honest, that's what I want to see from an executive branch or the executives or the management team at a startup company, someone that's aggressive, they're hungry, and they want to get this passed because they know what's on the line. They know what's on the line because you got to understand, these executives are getting paid $1. Mind you, they are getting a lot of share compensation if they access certain price points. I believe it's 25, 35, and 55. Correct me if the comments if I'm wrong. Whatever the case is, there's these metrics that they have to meet to access these sort of share releases so they can get that. And so when you see that, especially from people like Mike Loscheller, which was a huge executive for Opal and really turned them around. When you see people coming in and taking that umbrella of that $1 executive pay, you know they have vision. You know that they see, and they're not just working for the immediate salary. I mean, mind you, highly on executives, they're making almost $500,000 to $600,000, and they're milking down there. And when you see that from executives, it kind of makes you wonder, how hungry are you? But getting back to this article, I want to show that kind of went over kind of this vote proxy and kind of what you're seeing here with Nikola, the whole ambience of foot stomping, getting out the vote. Alan Adler, I would consider him a friend to Nikola. He's definitely not an adversary. Many of you know, probably like Ed Ledlow. He's just anti-Nikola. Bloomberg, they put a hit piece out this last week about an interview that they had with Trevor Milton, right? With the title was "The Fuel Cell Truck That Didn't Have the Fuel Cell." I'll try to put that in the description, tag that article. But again, it's just a hit piece, right? We already know this information. It's been out for almost 2 years now, and when you see news articles and journalism and journalists from these different news agencies like Bloomberg coming out with these articles, I just see that as bad faith. I don't even see that as good journalism anymore, because this has been out for so long. And at this point, they're really trying to shove Nikola under the bus, especially since they've moved on. They paid the SEC fine. And so I find that very much operating in bad faith. But Alan Adler is always, he seems like a good friend, at least the way that he portrays Nikola. And he had a great article that I kind of want to go over. So it's Freight Waves, it's the truck tech. And also, I don't want to be too overbearing in this, but there's 2 great YouTube videos where Alan Adler kind of goes over this, and they go over, and you have kind of these, these associates talking and about what's going on with Nikola, and Alan Adler chimes in. So there's a YouTube video that kind of actually goes over this, but some great key points that I just want to hit over here, where I think it's crucial leading up to this vote to understand and kind of get a bigger picture what's taking place on the ground floor. So this was Trek Talk. It says, Nikola proxy pursuit to raise share count gets harder. And this is by Alan Adler. This came out on Friday. So there's some points here that I want to go over. First of all, we know that there's been 3 adjournments of the meeting so far, right? So we had our first meeting. That one, like, they never even foot stomped it, right? It was kind of like no one really voted. But to be honest, I do not think that Nikola thought that Trevor Milton was going to say no to the vote. I think that came as a surprise. I think they knew that Trevor Milton was kind of like, all right, he's out there, right? You have his you have his court date set, but I think that took them by surprise. One, because like, why would you vote against it, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you're literally a large shareholder. You can see as Trevor Milton from the background, like, you can see this company that you left is making progress, and it's only going to be good for you, and it's going to be more of an asset for your shares as the stock price improves, as the company improves by this new flow of cash flow through the share raise. And it's only going to, it's going to dilute you some. We all know that. But again, it's going to make more of your shares more worth more, because the company is growing and your shares are actually going to be worth more as that stock price goes up, right? So, I don't think they saw it coming. So once Trevor Milton said no to those votes, I think that's when Nikola picked up the steam and they put down their foot on the pedal, like, we got to get going on this thing. So that's where you really saw them, I think, hire alliance advisors. That's where you saw them say, like, hey, we got to get our foot on the pedal on this thing. And so that came to our second adjournment vote. We were close. The third adjournment vote, we were very close. That brought us under to the 0.5% where we're at now. So we are seriously at the very, very end of the wire. I wouldn't be surprised, since it's almost been a week from the last the adjournment meeting. I wouldn't be surprised if we're under 1 million votes right now, because we were at 1.6 million. So we are at the finish line, and they are just hustling and hustling. So keep that in mind. So what it says here, it says, unlike other proposals at the virtual meeting that only need a majority of the proxy votes to pass, the share increase requires 50% plus 1. So we know that this one's unique because it needs 50% plus that 1. And so that's why they're hustling so hard on this, as we see. It's interesting to note, he kind of quotes this Florida State law professor. His name's Jay Keston, and you'll hear him chiming in through this article. And Jay Keston, he specializes in this. This is what he does. He's a law professor who specializes in corporate governance. So he sees this all the time with different publicly traded companies. He sees kind of these adjournment votes, and he kind of gives his eye or lens onto what's taking place. And he makes it clear. He says, this isn't always a bad thing, right? Like, you need money. You're going out to your investors and you're saying, hey, we're making progress, right? Like, we're making progress. We're doing everything we can. And it's funny to me, just to pull back here, it's funny to me when I see on YouTube comments, or when I see on Twitter, or when I see on Facebook, you have some of these shareholders, and, I don't know if they just don't know anything, or they're not following Nikola, but like, they're like, you guys should cut the fat, Nikola. You guys should, like, be cutting back on everything. Like, come on, revenue is going to be coming from the trades. You don't need to do a share raise. First of all, we know, like, they want to be a year ahead of the timeline, right? Like, you don't do the share raise right when you need the money, right? Because first of all, like, you're going to get a going concern letter, and, like, you just got to have a year liquidity. That just makes sense. But secondly, it's like, come on, like, seriously, look back on Nikola, like, a year and a half. Like, be honest with yourself. Like, be authentic. Like, you can't say they're, like, one of the greatest comeback SPAC stories of the past year and a half. Like, after Hindenburg, all points and arrows would have showed that, like, they should have failed, right? Like, you're starting to see these EV SPACs kind of go under now. All points and arrows said they should have failed, but, like, Nikola literally put their head down, and they literally hustled, and they literally had their plan. They're like, hey, we got our plan in place. Our factory is going to be built. Right? We got an awesome partnership with Iveco. We got an awesome partnership with Bosch now, and we can build fuel cell modules on the line now. We have great partners, and we have the liquidity at least to lead us up to a certain point. And so they put down their head and they just worked. And they worked, and they got their first truck out. They got it to deliveries to TTSI. They did their winter testing. There was no excuses like Hyliion, like I couldn't get a few parts in, and so now we can't do some winter testing. No, like, there was no excuses. They've been hitting every milestone, like, strategically hitting every milestone. Like, they're doing the deliveries and they're doing test piloting with, like, huge fleets like Cisco and Walmart and IKEA and the ports and, like, a lot of other off-brands. Like, they're doing it. So you can't look back and be like, well, they're not making progress. Well, I think that they should be cutting the fat. It's like, but why? Like how? Like they're getting to a point. We knew we knew we were going to do a capital raise, and so we're doing the capital raise now. Like it makes sense. This is the right time. This is when we need to do it. And again, put away the notion that they're going to be raising money at $5 a share. You know as well as I know that once this vote approves, once they start in these earning reports starting to have revenue, once these pilot testings start to be complete, and they start landing contracts, like hard contracts with huge fleets that have been testing, right? Once that happens and these orders start going through and revenue is going to start offsetting the expenses, like the stock price isn't going to be at $5. I'm sorry, it's not. Like, it might be, right? The whole world's going to burn apart, but we've kind of found a bottom here. As long as Nikola keeps hitting their milestones, which they're, like I said, it's a perfect formula, they will, right? They've already secured the parts. They already have Proterra on the line, which is going to start their new battery here in the fall, right? Like, they've already have exactly what's needed to hit that. It's a matter of just having the funding to do it, which they're going to have, right? So, I love what he says back here. Jay Keston says, so this brings us point. Jay Keston says, I'd rather have 90% of a lot of money than 100% of a little money. That reps up perfectly, like, share dilution or share liquidity. Like, exactly, we get it. Like, there will be a share offering. But I would rather have more of a smaller percentage of the share at $50 or $40 or $30 with all my shares at like $3 because they couldn't get the cap raise, right? Come on, it just makes sense. It's simple math. Another thing is about this proxy vote, right? This proxy vote costs money. It does. And Keston said a proxy vote like this. Again, Keston is the Florida State law professor that they're kind of interviewing through this article, Alan Adler. A proxy fight like this can cost about $1.5 million. So it is costing money to do it. In my personal opinion, I think it's well spent, right? It's well spent to the fact that it needs to be done, right? And I can't see with how close this is and how controversial that Nikola just doing some tweets here and there, like that would actually work to get the vote, right? Like what Alliance Advisor is doing is they're going through the list, they're looking at share blocks, and they're making calls. Hey, you haven't voted yet. Hey, what's going on? Hey, we're just reminding you, right? Leaving voicemails. I got some from I know other people have got this, but hey, you need to be voting, right? So they're not just sitting on their thumbs, they're being active, and that's what they're paying to do, right? We've probably seen, if you're on Reddit, you've seen promoted, right? Like Nikola's promoting, they're trying to get out there, they're doing their promoting ads saying, hey, we got 1% left, right? And so they're promoting on Twitter, promoting on Facebook, and this is like paid sponsor, they're paying to do this. So this is costing to get the vote out, right? But in my opinion, it's very well spent. It's very well spent. So what goes on here, it says, he says, despite the transparent outreach, which Keston finds refreshing in corporate America, I like that. Keston has seen everything, right? He's seen like huge companies do these adjournment votes. He's seen huge companies have to go through this process of this proxy vote, right? And he says it's refreshing. It kind of is. Like, people are making fun of the fact that, like, Nikola's hustling all the time. Like, why would you make fun of, or why would you think it's a negative thing or bad PR for Nikola to constantly be on the hustle and foot stomping this, right? Wouldn't you be more upset if the company that you're invested in is like, well, I think the votes will just come. Like, people will just find us. Like, no, they're like, hey, we got a lot on the line here, guys. Like, you want to see hustle, right? They're not quitting. They're not taking no for an answer. They're going and they're going and they're going and they're getting this vote out. Like, come on, that makes sense. That's what I want to see. I want to see you waking up 5 a.m., getting this vote out, not going to sleep, and you're just doing all you can to make sure that this passes, because this is crucial and this is important. Because you have to understand, if we can get this extra 200 million share offering, and the stock prices goes up here by the end of the year into 2023, because the capital that we have now is going to get us at least till mid 2023, somewhere around there. It depends on what the cash burn is, but the stock price isn't going to be where it's at now, right? Like, it's like we're hit at bottom, right? The market's like just literally just kind of fusing at the bottom here. I could be wrong, right? I'm not a market reader, but it looks like we've kind of hit a bottom here. The stock price isn't going to be there. It's going to be at like 15, 20, right? Maybe between 10 to 20 if they're hitting those deliveries and we get our 300 to 500 orders for the year. It's not going to be at 5. It's going to be higher. And Kim Brady said over and over, it's like, we do not want to give this company away for free, right? He mentioned in the investor meeting, it's like, you buy the stock at $5 right now, you're getting a 2-for-1, right? What's the 2-for-1? Well, you buy the stock for the BEV price, right? For $5, and you're getting the energy side and the fuel cell truck side with it for free, right? He made that clear. He says, we're valued as a BEV company right now. But no one's even literally seen what we're doing on the energy side when we're building out an infrastructure with TC Energy or TA America, TA gas stations, right? No one sees what we're doing on that side. And mind you, we have the capital set aside what we're planning for that. No one's seen our fuel cell truck that we're the leader in the market side. And the market's not. It's totally undervaluing them. Like, you can't say it's valuing them correctly right now. And so Kim Brady's saying, like, we're not giving away the company for free. Like, we're not. We're going to raise at the most prudent time. They are. And they're at this juxtaposition point, or this hinge point, where, like, we're literally at the earnings report and the next earnings reports where we're going to start having solid revenue. The stock's going to go. So they're not going to give this away for free. So this thing that, like, oh, it's going to flood the market with 200 million shares. Like, it's going to crash the stock. It's like, it's not. Like, come on. Like, don't you know anything about, like, how that's going to work, right? They're going to, like, offer it at the prudent time. So anyways, I like this further. It says, it's refreshing. Of course, it's very refreshing. We're seeing this get out the vote. It says even Chairman Steve Gursky cut a video seeking support, which is unprecedented, right? Seeing your chairman on there. Further, it says Nikola rounded up 5 million favorable votes between the second and third annual meeting adjournments. That suggests the collecting fewer than 2 million more in 2 weeks. So it's not 2 million, it's 1.6 million. So he's off on that, about 25%. But again, collecting 1.6 million in 2 weeks should be easy, but it's not. Keston suspects very few large blocks of unvoted proxy remains. So we're getting close here, but he's thinking that there's some large share blocks that remain. I'm thinking that it won't particularly matter in this point, and this is my argument. I think we're so close that enough of these small retail investors, some of these share blocks, that it's not going to matter whether it's this one, this adjournment. I really hope it is. I'm almost 100% certain. I could be wrong. But my guess is if it's not this time, we're going to have something ridiculous, like 200,000 shares left or 100,000 shares left, right? And Alan Adler and Keston said in the article, there's nothing to say, right? He read the bylaws, right? They read the bylaws of Nikola. I didn't read them, but I'm trusting they did, and I don't think there is. They read the bylaws of Nikola, and there's nothing to say that they can't keep doing this, right? The only harder thing is that this was April 4th that you had to have the shares by. The farther we go down, people have sold the shares. They may not even remember it. Trying to hound down those people. But if we only have 200,000 shares, we could adjourn the meeting one more time or another time after that, and we could theoretically go on with the meeting. At this point, probably you know as well as I do, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time until these votes pass. It's going to be so much more rewarding and so much more fruition if we can get that August 2nd. I mean, that's just going to be a huge power momentum to the market and just to us shareholders. One more thing to note. If we don't get it, if somehow it doesn't, right, it would be very unfortunate. We could wait till next shareholder meeting next year. if we do that, we're going to be running a thin line, guys. If we wait till next year with cap raising, we'd probably have to maybe figure out a loan. We'd be running a thin line. It's going to pass this time. I'm just saying, right, if it doesn't, but I'm 100% certain it is. Remember, Trevor Milton, and Mark Russell, they kind of own like a co-trust fund with some of these shares, right? And next year, that voting power is going to turn over to Russell. And I believe it's, what is it? I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments. I remember seeing it. It's about 48 million shares that they own together in that. That's going to turn over to Russell next year. If that's the case, then all worst case scenario, like nothing else, it's easily going to pass next time. I would prefer them to have it now, and we're so close. But worst case scenario, guys, that will take place next year, and that's just going to be easy, right? That's probably going to pass on the first time. They're probably not going to make the mistake and take it for granted. They might do some advertising before. But worst case scenario, Mark Russell will have the voting power of kind of those co-joined trust shares to vote on. Either way, I just want to tell you, I just want to make this point blank, like, Nikola is going to receive the funding. They will. Flat out, they're going to receive the funding. That's not going to be the problem, the liquidity, right? The only thing that it's going to do this time, in my opinion, if we get it August 2nd, which we will, if not, they'll adjourn it to August 15th, and there'll be 100,000 shares left, but whatever, we're going to get it. Why it's so crucial this time is that clear path runway for our collaborators, our partners, and potential investors, say like Walmart or TC Energy or whoever it may be. Showing that we have that liquidity on the table is going to be so crucial to show that we have a clear runway and that we mean business, right? That we're going to say, hey, don't worry about us. We got the capital. Let's move forward, right? Like, don't worry, we can build the hydrogen infrastructure, right? Having no delays, right? That's why this is going to be so critical. So this last week, as we see Nikola amp it up, I'm vocal. I say do it twice a day. Get Steve Gursky and Mark Russell before the tube every day. Like, have no shame, right? Be unprecedented. Be different, right? Don't do what corporate America is doing. Like, get out there. Like, don't try to save face. Right? Now's not the time to save face. Now's the time to hustle. Amp it up to level 10. Right? Like, I want to see that. I want to see them on 3 times a day. I'm not getting annoyed. Why would I get annoyed? I'm invested in, like, if you're invested in this company, like, why would you be annoyed? Like, get out the vote. Hustle. 3 times a day, 4 times a day. Overwhelm people. Don't let people forget, right? Like, marketing research shows, like, repetition works. So get out the vote. So you're going to see that a lot taking place this week. You're going to see Nikola being aggressive. If they do pull back for any reason, right? Because I'm under the impression, I don't know, but I'm under the impression just what we're seeing and them, like last time, letting us know that we're like under 1% and the meeting hadn't even happened yet. I'm pretty sure I'm under the impression, I'm pretty sure this is fact, that they can see the votes coming in real time. They know what's coming in and they can see trickling down and they can kind of read down, okay, we got this or we got that, or like, we got to amp it up. So if you see them stopping being aggressive on it, I would probably say that they're in a good place. They've gotten a vote. But I don't think they're going to take it for granted, because you could still do that and people could change their vote to no. Like, the worst thing you want to do is like, oh, we got it by 2. We're over. Let's stop everything. And the next thing you know, some bozo changes his mind and changes the vote before the next adjournment meeting, and they're like, crap. So I think they'll probably hustle to the end, because it would probably be in their benefit to just be over, not just by 1, but, you know, they want to be over by a little portion, right? So expect that this week, right? And again, be patient with Nikola. They're doing all they can. They're not sitting on their thumbs. They're hustling, right? When I went to ACT Expo and I met the staff and I talked to Jason Roy, I've talked to, I think, again, I forgot her name. I think it's Elizabeth. She's over at Renewable Energy. Met Pablo there. Pablo's an awesome guy too. We've seen him on some of the videos and stuff. When I talk to them all, like, they're not sitting on their thumbs, guys. They're hustling. You feel the energy. Like, I'm not trying to call out any other competitors, but again, I'm a Nikola bull. But like, I went to Hyzon and Highlands, but like, you kind of just got this low energy, like very mom and pop brand, right? With Nikola, you got like, we're changing the world and we know it. And that's the feel you get from them. That's the energy and drive. They know they're changing the world. They know what tech they have. They know what they're doing, And it's just a matter of, hey, we need liquidity and we will do it. And this is what's coming down the pipeline. So be patient with them. It's coming together. So where's we're going to see with this vote, I'm excited what's going to happen August 2nd. I'm pretty sure it's going to pass. I'm almost 100% positive it's going to pass. We're close. I think we're under 1 million now. But that's going to give us so much drive and momentum and energy. If not, we're still going to get news on August 4th with earnings release. They might hold back some until we get the vote. Keep that in mind, guys, so don't be disappointed. But it's going to pass. I think it's going to pass here in August. We have to adjourn one more time. But I'm almost 100% positive we're going to get on that August 2nd. All right, guys, stay safe. Sorry for going a little bit over. I can talk, but, you know, I love Nikola. I love being a Nikola bull. Appreciate it. Please subscribe, right? I'm going to be putting out these videos frequently. I follow every move of Nikola. I follow what's going out there. Correct me on any of the comments. Feel free to call me out, right? You know, we're just all here working together. We like Nikola. But like my video, subscribe, and appreciate it. All right, guys, you guys have a great day and peace out.